I'm doing everything I can in the world to keep them out of that part. You know what I mean? I want them just to have a happy, loving, stable, and that's all I want.
Hey guys, thank you for watching another episode of Daddy Issues. I am Dan, and today we have our guest, and he's going to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his story.
Hi, my name is Gerard. My divorce has been going on 2 years now, I'd say probably, and it's been a ride. I can say that for sure. I mean, it started because she's cheated before in the past, and I'm like, for the sake of the kids, I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna work it out, because I want the kids to come from a broken home, and I learned a lot already. So they're already coming from a broken home and stuff like that's going on. And she also has a pretty bad drug problem. She Everybody's like, well, pot's not addictive, but when you're smoking close to 8 times a day, it's a little bit of a problem. And it's not just pot. She's also like Popkin, like prescription painkillers. I don't want to really say her name right now just because I'm still going through litigation.
Yeah. You don't have to drop names.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare. When I caught her, she flipped it on me like it was my fault. Her boyfriend very stupidly came at me, and it happened. It was in a public place of all places, and it happened in a public place, and it just happened to get a phone call from my buddy. He's like, "Hey man, does your wife drive this such and such car?" I'm like, "Yeah." "You guys don't canoe, do you?" I'm like, "No," you know. And so I went out and checked it out, and this happened the day after Thanksgiving.
It's so, and I'm sorry, man, because you're still fresh in it 2 years, and
Oh yeah,
it's so tough when the woman does that. And it seems like a lot of guys are willing to sacrifice it and be like, listen, I'll forgive you, but mainly because it's like, I don't want the kids to grow up in a broken home. But it's like, it's also it's easy to say it like, oh, screw you. I'm out.
you're right.
You cheated on me, but it's so hard to actually leave because you obviously love this person,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I love her. She's the mother of my children. So it's just, I've gotten some pretty good advice from my brother. He went through a really bad divorce. He had a really bad one just because his then wife was the court's clerk. Yeah, so he got raped. He got raped over the coals, big time. But anyways, yeah, it was crazy. I can say that for darn sure. It was crazy. It's wow. It's all stereotypical stuff. She told the kids like I didn't love them. She gaslit the living snot out of me, and it was heartbreaking for me. I'm glad like when this whole thing first kicked off, I took all my weapons, got them out of the house because I was worried that she was gonna flip that on me. You know what I mean? Um, she never did, luckily. But with all those things that she was saying and just made me feel like 1 millimeter tall. You know what I mean? It was a good thing that I got it all out. I didn't lawyer up right away. I lawyered up after a little bit, which is what I should have done, is lawyered up right away. But finances and whatnot was just kind of hard. Um, Going back and forth through court, I had to. I went up. I didn't have to. I lost my job because my kids would get sick. They want daddy, you know. Um, and she's like, "Why can't I have to work? Whatever." And I'm like, "All right, you know what? It's my kids. Not a problem. Done. You know." And I did that. And so I want to lose my job over it. I'm like, you know what? I want to lose my job like 2 weeks before Christmas. It was pretty hard. It was a blessing. Right now they're 16, 14, and 10. Yeah. So it was a blessing in disguise. I'll say that. For the simple fact, like in the very beginning of the divorce, I was spending all the time with the kids. because she was working. I mean, she was a waitress. This is how the whole affair happened. Is she had an affair with a customer. You know, she wound up getting fired for multiple reasons, but that was one of them.
Today's sponsor is Once You Go Black Coffee. If you guys are coffee lovers and you need a kick in your day, or you've had a long night of doing paperwork and trying to figure out your court situation, talking with your attorneys, check them out, man. OnceYouGoBlackCoffee.com for 20% off. Use the code DaddyIssues. And big shout out to them, man. Thank you. All right, back to the episode.
I guess supposedly I wasn't there. I didn't see it happen. It was just sort of hearsay, but I heard that like it got ugly in the restaurant. So,
from when they fired her?
no, when his wife found out.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I mean, his wife or his wife's daughters, whatever it was, went to the restaurant and I guess made a pretty bad scene. Threats were made, and so it was just kind of like, you know what, you're out of here. So now we're both unemployed, but she's a waitress. She got another job right away. I mean, she filed for divorce once before, and then she reneged on it like a month and a half, 2 months later. Basically, after that boyfriend at that point in time, her and him broke up, so she's want to come back home. You know what I mean?
That's all it was. It wasn't, oh, I love him, I made a mistake. It's, oh, shit, I have nowhere to go.
Well, but that's what she told me.
Well, of
She's
course.
like, I loved you, I made a mistake. And then I learned the truth that, you know, hey, they broke up, and it's hard because I really don't want to trash her, but it's the facts. You know what I mean? I mean, she's the two other. Well, actually, this is the third one or third one that I know about. The two other guys she was messing around with, she basically took them for all they had, and then she dumped them, came back. So yeah, it's been rough. I mean, good God, I fired my first attorney because he's like, well, let's just wait to see what they do, and we're going to react to that. I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. I mean, you're supposed to be fighting for me. So how about we not respond? How about we get a little proactive and go at it? You know what I mean? And at first, I was more than happy with 50-50 custody. She's like, no, you're going to pay maintenance. You're going to do this and that. I'm like, you're making more money than me.
Wait, so she didn't want 50-50 custody because
no.
Assumingly because she probably wanted you to pay her money.
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay. This is all it's been about. I mean, in the time that we've had, I mean, since up to now, I mean, I lost my house. I had my, not my dream truck, but a truck I always really, really liked and wanted. I had that. I had to give it all up, you know? So I sold my house. I didn't lose it in foreclosure or anything, but I sold my house. I had to sell my truck, you know? So it is what it is. And everybody's like, oh, you can always buy another one. I'm like, oh, I heard that story about almost 30 years ago when I had a really nice Mustang that, you know, I sold to go to school. I can always buy another one, but here I am still dreaming about getting that thing too. So it sort of is what it is, you know? So
I will say, I mean, it sucks and it's tough. And I mean, you really did, you know, you lost your house, you lost your car, like you really are struggling, but you kept the kids first and you've been spending, you know what I mean? Like when she was off work and you spent the time with the kids, and it sucks because you do need to work, obviously, and provide, but it's like, you know, you're doing the most important part is spending the time with your kid.
With the kids and staying there for the kids, absolutely. I mean, it's just, I'm sort of drawing blanks now. I mean, I had all the stuff, what I should have, I was putting on paper and like, you know, went through bullet points, but, you know, whatever. But it was really hard. I mean, going back, like our first year into divorce, she's like, how about we just settle? I'm like, I go, hey, I'm willing to just cut our losses. You know, you keep what you got. I'll keep what I have, and we're going to walk away. And she's like, okay, fine. And I'm like, okay, awesome. So my first lawyer, I'm like, okay, we came to an agreement. How about we get this to a judge as soon as we can? No, let's wait 2 more months until our next court date.
Your attorney said that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
wait until next court date. Oh, yeah. He was terrible. He was the worst attorney. I mean, if anybody in the Rockford area ever gets divorced, stay the heck away from this guy. You know, he was terrible. I wound up getting a new attorney. She's been awesome. Um, Going backwards a little bit, when we had come to the fact like, hey, let's just sort of settle. I'm like, awesome. I just want to move on. I just want this over with. I want to continue on with my life, blah, blah, blah. She's like, she wrote me this letter and she read it to me. And I gave it to my attorney, my new attorney. She basically said that she wants her daughter full time, and I will see her every other weekend. And then my two boys, I have full custody of them, and she'll see them every other weekend. Yeah.
That is so strange.
And my lawyer looked at me like, there's no way. I'm like, here's a letter. This is her handwriting. And she's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like,
And
here
I'm
you go.
assuming the daughter is the 10-year-old?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. She had a very close relationship with her mom, and she wants to keep that with her daughter. But in these last 3 weeks, a lot of poop has hit the fan. I Two of her friends reached out to me. Actually, one's an ex-boss, and one's a friend had reached out to me. And they're like, we're sorry. I'm like, sorry for. At first, I was real reluctant to talk to them because I'm like, what? I'm thinking like it's a setup. They're just trying to get me to do something stupid, And then here I lose my boys, and you know what I mean. And I learned, well, it's hearsay still. And I mean, they've sworn affidavits, and they're going to testify in court to this. That it's not just a bad drug usage while in care of my daughter, but it's the my daughter was supposedly sleeping in the same bed/room as a 14-year-old boy, her boyfriend's son.
So that's going to be, and that is so effed up, but that is going to be so powerful in court, especially to have two people signed affidavits that know her, that are friends with her, saying something like that.
Right. Well, they're no longer friends with her anymore, but I just had a court date. Last week Wednesday. Yeah, last week Wednesday I had a court date, and this was all made relevant. So a guardian ad litem has finally been appointed. And I had a new judge assigned because the waitress where she was the restaurant manager / waitress where she worked at, she served this judge breakfast, and I've seen him there multiple times, and I'm like, this is BS. I mean.
He didn't even bring it up on the stand? You brother?
He said that he could be impartial. Okay, and I got some doozies for you. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I've got some real big doozies. She moved out of the house. Well, she was asked to leave by the police because she kicked it. We had an argument, and every time we had an argument, she always made threats and everything. So what I did every time is I dialed 911 and I flipped my phone upside down so she couldn't see it. And but they can hear everything that's going on. Now, the first time they showed up in one of our arguments, they came at me right away. And I'm like, whoa. Here's my phone. I dialed 911. You called dispatch. I am not the aggressor here. I just want to be here with my kids. That's all I want. And I'm in the basement. I'm sleeping on the couch in the basement. You know what I mean? I just want to be here with my kids. That's all I want. So they came out, they're like, hey, listen, you guys got to find a way to coexist, or one of you is going to have to leave, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. I'm like, listen, I'm just not being the aggressor. So literally like 2 days later, we get into another one. She's like, I come home from work and she's at me. I'm like, I just walked through the damn door. Give me some breathing space, please, And we go at it again. So what do? I dial 911. So after like the fifth time this happening, she's really going at me. And I got a hold of her old phone, okay? It's her and her boyfriend talking to how to have me thrown out of the house by me doing something aggressive towards her so they can live together in the house. And I read all this.
They're trying to set you up to do something aggressive?
They're trying to set me up. Oh, yeah, and my lawyer also has that phone. So I've been doing all this, like giving my lawyer all this stuff, and my old lawyer's like, no, I don't want that. That's gonna get me in trouble for property, and my new lawyer's like, please give it to me. It just shows motive and intent, and but so she's really jawing at me, And I keep my hands in my pockets every time because I read everything. You know what I mean? And I, like once I get dial 911, and I put my phone in my shirt pocket, you know, and 911's like trying to talk to me, but they can hear it, and they can hear me going, "Listen, I don't want to fight with you. Leave me alone." I go down the basement, I close the door. I say, "Please leave me alone. I don't want to fight." And she kicked the door in. She kicked the door in,
Did
and
she blame that on you when the police came
she,
by?
she tried, but
Yeah. Obviously, they have the recording.
well, it's not just that it had recorded. I mean, she wears a size 7.5 female, and I wear a size 10 male, so it's a big difference. I mean, and I still have my boots on, you know, and she had her, I think, gym shoes on or whatever. Were. It was just a white door, bam. You know what I mean? So they're like, you know what, you need to leave. So she gathered her stuff. She went and stayed by her boyfriend, whichever. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? But she told the kids that I slept in my car, and I still was tied into her message, her iMessage for her iPhone. I was still tied into her iMessage. So I saw all the conversations, and I'm just screenshotting everything in case it gets deleted. You know what I mean? Trying to keep as much information as I can, you know. And so yeah, so she got asked to leave the house. So I stayed in the house for another 7 months, I think, before I was like, I mean, I cashed in my 401k to stay in the house, and she's like, you can't do that. I'm like, judge was like, yes, you actually, if you're saving the house, you can do that. Now, if I just went like on vacation, bought a sports car, and all this other stuff, that's a no. But to save, the marital residence and whatnot, it was okay. So, and then she's like, you better have receipts for that and everything. I'm like, I just printed out my
Because she would have got
banking.
half of your 401k.
Yeah,
You had not done. Yeah.
right. So I printed all that, gave that to my lawyer too. I highlighted, paid this, mortgage, double mortgage payment, double truck payment, this, that. Just showing that I was just trying to stay afloat. I wasn't like trying to go 6 months ahead or anything like that. Just trying to keep it there. You know what I mean? And that became a wash after so long. They're like, listen, he just was just doing this just to survive. So that became a wash, and then yeah. So I jumped around again. I'm so sorry, and you're probably gonna have to edit the crap out of this. So going backwards to us having a discussion in the house. She read that letter to me saying, "Hey, I want to have my daughter full time," and I go, "No, absolutely not." And my kids are kids, so they're at the bottom of the stairs, the basement. Listen to everything we're saying. And mind you, she's been telling the boys all the time, "I don't love them, I don't want them," blah blah blah. And then she hears me say, "Not a chance in hell. I love all my kids equally, and I want as much time as I can possibly have with them." You know. And then my oldest boy's like, "Click.
Yeah.
Wait a
And
second
he's
here."
he's old enough to understand too at
Oh yeah,
16, and then what'd you say, 14?
16, 14, yeah.
16, 14. There 14 maybe, but 16 he understands he can figure it
Oh no,
out.
he. Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
10 years old too. 10 is very young. Like she's probably very
Yeah.
confused what's happening.
Yeah, she is, and I mean, yeah. So it's a little hard. Sorry. But my son one day is like, "Hey," and I told my kids, I go, "I only want you here if you want to be here. I'm not forcing you to stay here. I mean, it'll kill me to see you go by your mom for longer amounts of time, whatever it is. But if that's what you want, that's what's going to happen. I want to spend the best time I can with you when I'm with you, rather than you be resentful and be here. You know,
See, that's such a good thing to say, but that's also such a hard thing to say because if they did, because if they're being alienated by their mom and they did choose to go stay with their mom, it's like, fuck. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh no, yeah, and I'll come back to this in a little bit, but um, my son's like, "Oh my god, Dad really wanted us the whole time," And one day he's like, "Hey, Dad, can I come by you?" And I'm like, "You." And it was her time with him though. And I go, Bud, you're always welcome here. You don't even have to ask. I go, the only thing you have to do is you got to ask your mom because it's mom's time right now. And if mom says it's okay, I'm on my way. You know what I mean? And she's like, only if your father lets me back in the house can you go there. Oh yeah, I
Let's her back in the house to get something or to move back
no
in.
to move back in the house.
What?
Yeah, oh yeah, and it's all in writing too. So it's all in writing. The lawyer has all of it. So she's using kids as a pawn, which is a giant no-no, you know. But I'm like, absolutely not. And then because I told her no, she flipped out and went after my oldest boy. My oldest boy's name is Anthony. She went after Anthony, and she just let him have it. He's calling me, and I'm like, "Bud, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to cause more trouble for you, but Mom wants to move back in here. I don't want her here, you know." And I'm like, "Can I discuss that? Can I discuss that?" So it's just I'm always been very guarded what I say around him too. You know what I mean? So she's been everything she's been accusing me of doing, she's been doing all along. So she's accused me of bribing them with money. No, they got it easy. I give them like $20 a week just to keep the rooms clean and pick up after themselves. And their friends are like, dude, that's all you got to do. Oh my God, you know. But um, so yeah, she accused me of bribing them. She accuses me of constantly talking bad ab- about her to them. I've never done it ever directly to them, but there's been I think twice where I was talking with my brother or my mom on the phone, and I'm oh yeah, and I'm letting her have it, and it's not like we're in the same room either. I mean I'm in my master bedroom and they're like in the kitchen or something. You know what I mean? And they're just listening though. You know what I mean? Kids being kids. I know when I was a kid I sneak around, listen to conversations and whatever. So whatever. But so she accused me of this, that, and so going back to Anthony again and him asking to come out by me. So she went at him. Her boyfriend threatened my oldest boy. And then he calls me and says, Dad, he threatened me. And I'm like, all right, yeah, you better call. I'm not thinking to myself, I didn't tell him, you better call the police because if I get there before the police get there, he's a dead man. But I told Anthony, I had some guidance here, which I'm very thankful for the guidance I did have from a friend. Say, you tell your son if he feels threatened or unsafe to call the police. So I said, Anthony, this is what I'm going to tell you. If you do not feel safe and if you feel threatened there by him or by whatever, you have the right to call the police. So he did. She flipped it on him to the police and said, oh, he just wanted to go by dad to play the PlayStation. Now, Anthony had very, very bad grades. I took the PlayStation away. I mean, it was darn near thrown in the lake. You know, grades are the most important thing in the world, and he knows that now to this day. But um, he he's like, well, yeah, I'll play PlayStation with my dad because he'll let me. I go, it's summertime. I don't have to worry about his grades yet, so whatever. It is what it is. Come school time, PlayStation's gone. You know, and we made agreements where like, hey, if you if you get straight A's, I'll let you play PlayStation on the weekends. Compromise. Have him something to work towards. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. And so she told the police that the only reason why he wants to go there is for PlayStation. His father was trying to bribe him to go there to play PlayStation, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so the police wound up calling me. I'm like, he told me his name. I go, okay, this is what I was told. He was threatened by her boyfriend. Her boyfriend's name is Jim or James, whatever, same difference, but whatever he goes by. Um, I go, he was threatened by him. Please check that out with him, okay, with my son. And then she tried fabricating, saying that I coached him into that. So I'm like, whatever, So even my oldest boy to this day, he's like, listen, Dad, I'll testify to court too. I'm like, no. I really, I mean, I'm doing everything I can in the world to keep them out of that part. You know what I mean? I want them just to have a happy, loving, stable, and that's all I want. You
But
know?
this is what's crazy is it would all be over with if she, because you wanted to settle when she said it earlier. So it's like it
Right.
would all be over with if she just would stop playing these games and just be like, let's just get along.
That
You
was
do
the
your
thing
thing, I'll
too.
do my thing.
Right. And that was the other thing too. She was constantly accusing me of playing games. I'm like, there's no games being had here. If you were willing to split things 50-50, we'd be done and over with. But because I told her no, because I told her there is no way in hell I'm paying her maintenance, I told her there's no way in hell I'm paying her child support, especially if it's 50-50. You know what I mean? Um, she's like, oh no, this is what you're doing. So everything's off. It's off. And now I'm like, whatever. You know. Meanwhile, I got like $30,000 into my lawyer already, so I have another job now. but yeah. I mean, the cool thing is, I I work for not the county that I live in, but the next county over. So I work in facilities there. So I'm constantly in the courthouse. I'm constantly in the jail, and I'm seeing judges left and right, and I'm seeing lawyers all the time. And one of the lawyers has been really cool. He's like, "Hey, man, I see some days you're riding high, and there's other days that you're not. You're a little like you've been kicked down in the dirt." I go, "Yeah, well, sort of going through a divorce and this that." And he's like, "Am I representing anyone?" And I go, "No, no, no." And he's like, "Well, then," he was really cool. He's like, "Wait on me." So he's been giving me some guidance, as far as what I can say, what I can't say. And then I also have a friend who is a paralegal, um, who's also been giving me some guidance too, which has been really, really awesome. Like, especially when, I mean, I've already broken one iPhone. I threw it. I got so mad because the stuff that she was saying was just so toxic and so mean. And, rather than me punch a hole in the wall or whatever, I just like threw my phone on the ground. I'm like, F you and this, that.
Yeah, but you turn into
But,
almost like a detective too when you have to like
oh, yeah.
do all of this. I
Oh,
mean, my file is so like organized, labeled, and everything. It's
yeah. I
crazy.
mean, the one thing I've learned is you save even if I go out to take my kids out to eat, save the receipt. And I'm like, like my one friend who's a paralegal, like, she's gonna owe you a lot of money. And I'm like, and in all honesty, I'm willing to just let it all go just to be done.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
the only way that your ex will let it all go is if she actually loses in court. And then she'll be like, oh, okay, I'll take the 50-50 with no child support.
Well, she'll try and say that I influenced him or whatever. And at that point, I mean, she's been so. I mean, to her, okay, we're gonna sort of catch up to date a little bit because we're still playing back a little bit. I apologize. Um, just up recently, I learned through her friend, ex roommate, friend, and her ex boss, and a different person, her ex boss, that like it's been like by her, it's been a revolving door with guys, and I'm like, I go, you know what? I don't care. It's not my business. I don't even know. They're like, no, no, you understand. Your daughter's there. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, where she's staying now is a studio. It's not like she's got a bedroom. It's a studio. And I'm like, for the love of God, please don't tell me that. Please just you're just angry with her and you're just trying to cast dirt. But like, I'm like, and at the same aspect, I don't trust her because the stuff she's telling me is just so vile. I'm like, well, maybe she's just trying to get a reaction on me, so I do something stupid and I go to jail, and then she goes, see, he's unfit father. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, here's what I go. If this is true, tell my lawyer. They did. Get a sworn affidavit out of it. And they said, we'll testify in court too. And I'm like, okay, now it's very hard for me to lose my composure. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, this is not a setup. This is like legit.
You have to think like that. You have to think that anything that is coming your way, this going to be flipped? And it sucks you have to think like that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you have
Oh,
to
yeah.
protect yourself. Could this be
Right.
flipped on me any type of way?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when I learned this news, I was at work, okay? And one of my coworkers, like, cause they saw me, like, my face turned bright red. I'm sweating because I'm mad, And, they're like, you got a vein in your forehead that pulsates when you're having, and I'm like, okay, that's my dad. But they're trying to make light and trying to joke with me to try and bring me down. They're like, and I mean, I work correctional officers too, okay? So they're like, dude, you're gonna do everybody. You're not gonna do anybody any good if you're here, okay? So as angry as you are, you know, you gotta check yourself, And I'm like, I'm pacing back and forth, and I'm like, I go, listen, I gotta go walk outside right now because if I'm, you know, I gotta walk some of this energy out. They're like, okay, go walk off. So like literally two of the correction officers that I know, they're sort of like watched. They're like, you ain't gonna do nothing stupid. Okay, good. Which is, I mean, great to see and great, great to know I've got people out there like that. But yeah, so that was one of the things that was alleged is that she's having sex in the same room as my daughter. Okay, she's sleeping. My daughter's sleeping in a bed is like he's either 14 or 13 years old, whatever. The same bed. And at first I thought I'm like same room. They're like no same bed. I'm like oh what?
Yeah, that's
I'm
stuff
like
that's going to get the kids taken away from her.
so, and it would just be my daughter, but still, because I have full custody of my boys. They are full. I have full custody. I have full custody of boys because of what happened with her boyfriend and and my son and my ex and my son because when the threat was made it went back and forth a little bit. My ex took her boyfriend's side over my son and basically and literally told him, I mean, still got them going to therapy. I still have my kids going to therapy. My oldest boy's not in therapy anymore, but my youngest boy is, and my daughter's still going to therapy. She told the both of them, get the F out of here. I don't want you no here no more.
That's going to mess with
um
all of them. I can only imagine why they're there. I mean, that's going to mess with them for
yeah,
a while.
oh yeah. And still to this day it is brought up,
Yeah.
still to this day. And I'm like, I go, bud, and here's me once again, still defending her. Mom probably said it out of anger. She really didn't mean it. You know what I mean?
Men just think so much differently than
Yeah,
women.
yeah.
You
And
better get that room ready because it seems like your daughter's going to be.
my daughter here, where I'm at now, my daughter here has her own bedroom. So, I mean, and when she's here for the week, she's got her own bedroom. She's got her TV in her bedroom, and you know what I mean. She's set.
It's so crazy that they split the kids like that though. Like it just
Oh,
that's wild. That the
yeah,
court didn't just say all the kids are going to you because clearly it's unfit over
right. And the weird thing, well, my daughter's still with her, and I'm going for full custody. And the thing is, it's still to this day, even if I still get full custody, I would not deny her to see them or see even her daughter because it's her mom.
every
And,
guy I talk to says the same thing, and it gets me so frustrated when women are just complete opposite. I want to rip the dad away from, I'm going to take the kids. You'll
oh,
never
she
see
tried.
them.
Yeah, oh,
Right.
she
And the
definitely tried.
dad's, even if you got full custody, you're still saying that you would still allow the mom to see them. And like, that's how it should be every time. And I just don't understand where these women just like go left.
Yeah, I mean, she's been a piece of work. I mean, she gaslit the living snot out of me. I mean, it's just like here the whole incident with that letter. Okay, I told my sister about it. My sister's like, "There's no way." I'm like, I took a picture. I mean, to keep it for myself, I took a picture of the letter. I mean, my lawyer has the actual physical copy, but I got a photo of it. And she's like, "There's no way. You're full of it." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm scrolling through my phone. I'm like, "Here it is. Read and weep." Oh my God. So it's been interesting.
When do you think it'll be over?
Um, I have a funny. I'm hoping it'll be over. I'm really trying. I mean, I really want it to be over this year. It's just with the Guardian line, I'm finding being. Oh, her friend also called. Uh, oh, here's a few other things she did. Sorry, and I'd be in shackles if I did this. Okay. Um, I would say last August, approximately, she just up and moved her daughter up to Wisconsin with her. claiming she had, yeah, 1 hour away. Okay, claimed that she had nowhere to go, but she's been staying at her boyfriend and whatever. I'm not whatever. I don't believe her, but I've got nowhere to go. This, that, this, that. So she moved up to Wisconsin with my daughter. She told me the morning it was happening that she's moving up there. I'm like, I don't approve of this. You can't do this. And she goes, too bad. I'm doing it anyways. So this happens on a Saturday. So I try and message my lawyer, which my lawyer's not going to see until Monday morning, you know. And the only thing the judge happened when this was brought up in court, judge, she did what? And that was it. Okay.
They didn't make her move back?
No, no. What happened was is she has to drive my daughter back and forth to see me. Like the week that I got her, she's going to drive her back down to me, and then to pick her up, she's going to drive back down to pick her up. On days of school, she drives her every morning, 1 hour in the morning.
Are you kidding me?
And the judge sees nothing wrong with that. Now my daughter's going to wake up an extra hour early every day for that travel.
That's insane.
But that's okay. Now, after school, she's here at my place until like sometime between 4:30 and 5 o'clock when her mother picks her up and takes her back up. But in the morning, she's up extra early in the morning, and the whole thing all over again, which I think is totally ridiculous. But now that, like I said, now we have a new judge. I was like, hey, listen, for the better of the child. I mean, waking up an extra hour is ridiculous. Now,
there's no way he's not going to see that. Like, there's no.
I hope not. Well, we have a guardian light pointed out, and also her friend called Wisconsin's Department of Children's Services on her. Yes, because she messaged her friend saying, "Hey, I need my daughter's backpack." Okay, she's like, "Well, I'll bring it over after work." Because I'm working right now, I'll bring it over after work. It's one of her waitress friends, and she goes to hand it off to her, and my ex comes to the door with like barely, like a towel on her. Okay, her boyfriend's on the floor with a towel with like a blanket or not a blanket, a sheet over him. Okay, on a mattress on the floor, whatever, that doesn't really matter, but on a mattress on the floor, and she's like, okay, where's she at? Well, she's fine. If she's here, she's not fine. This is not a good place. Her friend's like, let me take her so you can continue doing what you're doing. You don't scar your daughter for life. And she, I guess, supposedly she kept her there the whole time. And that's also on a sworn affidavit.
Holy shit. And at 10 years old, I mean, they know what's going on. Like, how can you do that?
Here's the scary thing now, too, is like I have my daughter in therapy. My daughter plays Roblox, okay? And like the characters, what do they call them? Avatars, what do they call them? They're all scantily dressed. Like fishnet stockings and stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is this? It's just an avatar, Dad. It doesn't matter. I go, that's not appropriate. Dad, it's just a character. It doesn't matter. I go, no, 1,000% not appropriate. So, then I become a detective again. So I'm going through her phone, and she's got like a guy friends, like messaging her through the apps. Nothing's been inappropriately said, but I'm like, you know what? Block, any an adult. I'm like, block, blocking all these adults. And just, oh. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a nightmare. So, I mean, I tell my daughter every single time every day, I don't see her every day, but when she's here every day, I tell her I love her. She's the most important thing in the world, and blah blah blah. And I don't mean blah 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 just to be like whatever. I let her know she's very important and she's loved. And the same thing with my boys. Now, and I'll be perfectly honest here. The only thing that's kept me going and not make me swallow the barrel of a shotgun is my boys tell me every day, Dad, I love you. Thank you. I love you, Dad. I love you, Dad. I love you, Dad.
Couldn't ask for anything better than that. Yeah.
Nope. And as mad as sometimes I get at them and they say, Dad, I love you, and I'm like, oh. You made my day better. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Man, well, I'm sorry you're going through that in 2 years. It's still fresh, but it seems like you're gonna be on the finish line pretty soon.
Yeah, everybody's like, it's a locked done deal. I'm like, because I work at the courthouse, I've seen way worse cases, and they still don't get it. And
Yeah, you're
that's what
looking.
scares
It's
me.
looking good, but yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's sealed yet. If you could give some advice to any dads out there, what would it be?
Document everything. Document everything, save all your receipts, and take screenshots of messages. Just as much as, and I'll be the first person to say it. I still love my wife to this day, but I'm not in love with her anymore. But I love her because she's the mother of my children. Don't think for 1 second that they will not stick a knife in your heart and twist it, especially when it comes to money, finances, kids, any of it, because she's definitely done it.
That is, no one has said that yet, and that is great, great, such a great thing to say because it's so true. And as shitty as it is, and as much as like you really have love for somebody, they will put a knife in your back and twist it
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. One other thing too, which made me laugh, was when she had to get all of her stuff out of the house. She asked me to help her, and this is like in the heat of everything. This is when everything was real fresh, and I'm like, well, it's number one. She's been threatening me nonstop, so I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna be. I'm not gonna be. No way. I'm not gonna be anywhere near you. So what I did was the day that she said she was coming to get her stuff, I took it all and put it in the front yard, in the driveway. I mean, it wasn't like I just threw it out there either. It was nicely. It was all put outside, so you can get your stuff and get out. And my neighbor was pretty funny because he goes, "Dude, it's usually the reverse." And I'm like, I go, dude, this has been like the worst episode of Jerry Springer because I mean, I've had the cops out to my place 6 times, you know, and then after everything happened, like I had her boyfriend arrested after he came at me when I confronted him. Um, he had the nerve, and I had no contact. He was not allowed within, I think it was 150 yards with me or whatever. He came with her, sat in my driveway to pick up my kids. Yeah, so I got cameras around my house, so I just took screenshots of all the cameras, of him being in the car, and it is because it was the same judge that she served all the time. He just got he got a warning. Yeah, he got a warning. That's all that happened. So I was like, this is absolute bogus.
It
But
is because 100% if that was on the reverse, you would be in
oh,
him.
I'd be locked up. I mean, if that was me doing that, I'd be locked up. Guarantee it. I mean, I see the justice system every day, so it just sort of it's just it's so not fair to fathers. It's scary. And I mean, from my experience, I mean, here I had to console dad in a courthouse, okay, and I'm just you know an employee, like a county employee. I'm not a bailiff. I'm not a corrections officer. I'm just a county employee. And this dad, it was broke. He broke down. He was crying. I'm not going to see my kids. This that. I go, dude. I go, let me. And I go right now. You're not going to see your kids, okay? Because you didn't show up for the court. He goes, my car broke down. And he goes, I got proof and this that. I go, save all that for your next court date. See if you can expedite a court date. Talk to a judge, talk to a lawyer. Do you have a lawyer? He's like, no. I'm like, you need a lawyer. I go. He's like, can't. I go, dude. I can't afford one either. I'm in the same shoes. I'm in the same shoes you're in. Okay, not the exact same shoes, but I'm going through a divorce myself. I go, get a lawyer. I go, there's lawyers that do pro bono, and you go to, and typically if you go to a large law firm, you'll get one to do a pro bono because it looks good on them too, you know. And I didn't. I mean, I never heard back from him ever again. But he sort of calmed down, and I'm like, dude, just get a lawyer. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep fighting. And like I said, I never heard back from him, but hopefully he's seeing his daughter.
Yeah, I mean, the system's just so broken. And I've had a couple of guys on here who said, they've tried to end their lives and thank God it didn't work. And like their fathers with them went through the same thing and they ended up killing themselves. Like,
Right.
it's just, it's so tough on men. I mean, they really do just beat them down.
Well, the bad thing is there's just through history and society, there used to be way more shitty fathers that would just walk away. It's not that case anymore, and it almost seems like it's a reverse now, where there's more shitty mothers that are willing to walk away
Yeah,
than
and
there is father.
it's surprising. I've seen actually a couple of dads have been on here. I have full custody. The mom just got up and left. She didn't want the kid. I'm like, what? Like you don't
Yeah.
you really didn't hear about that back in the day, but it is starting to
Right.
become a thing now.
Yeah,
You're right.
and it just I hope it changes. I mean, I honestly, guy, with everything that's going on. I mean, there's a famous lawyer out here. His name is Jeffrey Levings, and he's got a book out called Father's Rights. But the guy's so expensive. I mean, he's just like, I mean, he's probably charging like $3,000 an hour. It's ridiculous. I mean, how can any dad who really wants their kids afford something like that? You know what I mean? Unless you're rich. But I mean, Joe Average, who really wants their kids, just wants to be in their kids' lives. I mean, how? You know what I mean? And I'm actually seriously considering going to school for law. I mean, I'm 50 years old to go to school for law just so I can, you know, start trying to level the playing field.
Absolutely. There's been a couple of dads on not actually pretty recently episodes, and they have studied so much. Like attorneys are even like, you should open your own practice. Like you're actually really
Right.
good.
Yeah.
Go past the
Right.
bar. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, it just pushes dads. I mean, it pushed me to do a podcast.
Right.
And talk about it because I was so frustrated with everything that was happening. But it pushes these dads to just go above and beyond, what they're doing to help to see their kids.
Yeah, I've been in a few of the forums and for dads, and I mean, I wasn't in the forums in the very beginning. I've been in them a lot more since I've been in it now. So now I got a little underneath my belt now, shall we say? And I've been telling like people like, hey man, please reach out. If you're, and I even put my phone number on there. I'm like, dude, if you're in a dark place and you're a dad and I go, dude, I don't give a shit if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Make that phone call because
That's what people need. That's what guys need
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
That's awesome. Good for you.
I mean, I wouldn't mind trying to do a podcast, but there's like a lot of people doing it now, so I'm like, I'm out of it.
No, don't think like that. You could definitely do it. Don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just I just want to see good dads, succeed. And just with their kids. I don't. Hey, if they want to make in like 200,000-300,000 awesome, good for you. But I just wanted to see them succeed with their kids. Like I used to take my kids every year. Every year we went up to a place called Hayward, Wisconsin. It's like number one fishing place for muskie in the world, I guess. I was taking them there every year up until we got divorced. And last year we didn't go because my sons are like, "Hey, Dad, what about?" Mike? I go, "Dude, money's tight, bud. It ain't gonna happen this year." He's like, "Well, what about next year?" I'm like, "We'll see." I actually planned a vacation this summer. Actually, no, we're still in May, so in 2 months in July, we're gonna drive to Mount Rushmore, check that out, and then we're gonna go see the Crazy Horse um, like statue, which is like I think like 2 hours from there or something like that. So we're gonna go check that out because, and then I hear I found out my daughter wants to go too. I'm like absolutely, I go you have to clear that with your mom, but absolutely, and she's like, "Are you sure?" I go, "Dad," I go, sweetheart, you're never excluded, ever. And I tell my kids all the time, if I'm going somewhere, you're more than welcome to come with. You're not going to hear me tell you no, unless like you got to shower and you got to do this and you got to dip before we walk in the door. No, no. If I'm going now and if you're ready to go, you're coming. Let's go. You know. And I've only done that once to my one son. He's like, I got to shower. I'm like, then you ain't going. He's like, I really need to shower. I'm like, well, then you're not coming. I'm not going that long anyway. So, but here's another thing too, is leading up to the divorce too. Before the divorce happened, she was constantly accusing me of cheating. Okay, and I'm like, how is it possible that I can cheat when I've got the kids with me all the time? She's like, I would go to my brother's house, and my brother is just the biggest gearhead ever. Okay, and I've helped him on multiple cars when we do like total frame off restorations on, well, mostly muscle cars, but and we've cut up cars to make a car, because buy junk to cut out, a quarter panel welded in here and all that fun stuff. And I was bringing my boys with me, and they were. I mean, I've got some awesome pictures, which will be awesome memories too. I mean, we cut the roof off an Impala, an old like a '65 Impala. Cut the roof off of it, and they're standing in there. I mean, there's no tires. It's just the body, no frame, no nothing. It's just a body sitting on the ground. My kids are there, like, yeah. And it's awesome picture, awesome picture. And my daughter went there too, and and it was almost like a punishment, but like to her, I'm not punishing. Send them like, dude, we were having the best time in the world. I mean, we make a total. I mean, we're gone all day. I mean, we would leave at like 7:00 in the morning. I come home until like 8:00 in the evening. But I mean, they had the best time in the world. Best time.
Yeah, that's watch, what it is, though. Is those memories.
Oh yeah, and got to watch my brother, Uncle Jim. My brother would just lose his mind some stuff. Because that's the mechanic thing. Start dropping some F-bombs and whatnot on everywhere else, and but it's great times. So,
yeah, they'll remember that forever.
Oh yeah, and that's what I really want too. So I'm just trying to build the best possible memories they can have. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your story.
No, man, thanks for having me. I mean that.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode. Remember to check out our Patreon page, patreon.com, under Daddy Issues, The Truth. We're trying to just, really help dads out there. There's a lot more content over there. You can call and ask some questions. And, I went through this for 6+ years. I'm just starting to see the other side of it now. Me and my ex are somewhat getting along, which is, at the end of the day, what it's all about, especially for our kids. So if you guys are going through something similar, man, hop on over there, hit us up, and hopefully we can help you guys out and grow that community. So check it out, Daddy Issues, The Truth, over on patreon.com. You can hold me down. You can hold me down. You can hold me down.